Have you heard about the big trade deal brewing between India and the US? It's being touted as a landmark agreement, a game changer for global trade. But when you start to peel back the layers, a more complicated picture emerges. Is this deal really a win-win, or is it a one-sided affair where the US reaps the rewards while India pays the price? Let's dive deep and unpack what's really going on, because the details might surprise you. First, let's talk about what the United States stands to gain. The American government has been very clear about its objectives. A key priority is getting greater access to India's massive market for American agricultural products. We're talking about things like apples, almonds, walnuts, and even dairy products. For years, India has maintained tariffs to protect its own farmers from foreign competition. If these the US's medical devices, the American medical technology industry is a global powerhouse, producing high-tech equipment like stents, pacemakers, and diagnostic machines. India's healthcare sector is growing rapidly, but the government has historically put price caps on many of these devices to make them affordable for the average citizen. The US has tariffs are lowered or removed. It opens the floodgates for American agricultural giants to sell their goods to over 1 billion Indian consumers. Imagine the profits for large-scale American farms and corporations. This isn't just a small win. It's a potential multi-billion-dollar jackpot. Another major area of interest for been pushing hard for India to remove these price controls. If they succeed, American companies could sell their devices at much higher prices, leading to a massive surge in profits. While this is great news for those companies and their shareholders, it raises serious questions about the cost of healthcare for ordinary Indians. Then there's the digital economy. US tech giants, the big names we all know, are eager to expand their footprint in India's booming digital market. They're lobbying against data localization laws, which would require them to store Indian user data within India's borders. Keeping data on global servers is cheaper and gives them more control. A trade deal that favors their position would be a huge victory, solidifying their dominance and making it harder for Indian tech startups to compete on a level playing field. It's about securing future market share and ensuring the rules of the digital road are written in their favor. So, from the American perspective, this deal looks like a golden ticket. It unlocks new markets, dismantles protective barriers, and paves the way for higher profits across key sectors. It's framed as boosting American exports and creating jobs back home. But what does this mean for India? This is where the story takes a sharp turn. Let's start with the heart of India, its farmers. Over half of India's population depends on agriculture for their livelihood. Most are small-scale farmers, often working on just a few acres of land. They simply cannot compete with the massive, highly subsidized, and technologically advanced agricultural industry of the United States. If India lowers tariffs on American farm products, the market could be flooded with cheaper imports. Think about a small apple grower in Himachal Pradesh trying to compete with a giant American corporation that produces apples on an industrial scale. The Indian farmer would be crushed. This could lead to a widespread crisis in rural India, pushing millions of families deeper into poverty and debt. It's not just an economic issue. It's a social catastrophe waiting to happen. The very fabric of rural Indian life is at risk. Now, let's revisit those medical devices. If the price caps are removed as the US wants, the cost of essential medical procedures could skyrocket. A heart stent that was once affordable could become a luxury. This would put life-saving treatments out of reach for a huge portion of the Indian population. It creates a system where quality healthcare is only available to the wealthy. While American corporations celebrate record profits, millions of Indians could be forced to choose between their health and financial ruin. Is this a fair trade-off? The deal might enrich American companies, but it could come at the direct expense of public health in India. And what about India's Make in India initiative? The whole point of this program is to boost domestic manufacturing and create jobs for India's massive young workforce. A trade deal that forces India to lower tariffs across the board could undermine this entire vision. Why would a company set up a factory in India if it can simply import cheaper finished goods from the US or elsewhere? Instead of becoming a manufacturing hub, India could become a consumer market, heavily dependent on foreign products. This doesn't just impact factory workers. It stifles innovation and prevents the country from building a self-reliant industrial base. The short-term benefit of cheaper consumer goods could lead to long-term economic vulnerability. The deal also touches on intellectual property rights. The US is pushing for stricter patent laws in India. On the surface, this sounds reasonable, protecting innovation. But here's the catch. India's current patent laws have provisions that allow for the production of affordable generic medicines. This has made India the pharmacy of the developing world, supplying low-cost drugs for critical illnesses to countries across the globe. Stricter patent rules, aligned with U.S. standards, would make it much harder and more expensive to produce these generics. The result: higher drug prices, not just in India, but worldwide. Pharmaceutical giants would make more money, but access to affordable medicine for the world's poorest populations would be severely restricted. So, when you lay it all out, the picture becomes clearer. The proposed trade deal appears heavily skewed in favor of American corporate interests. The U.S. gains access to a vast market for its agricultural goods, medical devices, and digital services, with the potential for enormous profits. Meanwhile, India faces the risk of a devastated agricultural sector, more expensive healthcare, a weakened manufacturing base, and reduced access to affordable medicines. The very people the Indian economy needs to protect: its farmers, its sick, and its workers are the ones who stand to lose the most. This isn't to say that all trade is bad. A fair, balanced agreement could genuinely benefit both nations. But the current proposals seem to demand that India sacrifice the livelihoods of its most vulnerable citizens for the sake of enriching powerful American corporations. It raises a fundamental question: is this a partnership of equals, or is it a form of economic exploitation, dressed up as a trade deal? As the negotiations continue, it's crucial to look past the headlines and ask who really benefits and who is being asked to bear the cost. The future of millions of lives in India hangs in the balance. Thank you for watching. If you found this analysis insightful, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this video to spread awareness. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.